Let's share this impromptu live stream with some super sweet jazzy music. Let the people know that we're doing this. Let's figure out how to do it. I'm glad. Oh my god. Why would you do that, Bill? Yeah. All right. Yeah. See if I can get the chat on there. I don't need any of that. I need the chat. No comment yet. See how that goes. See if we get some folks in here while I rock out to some smooth jazz. Appears to be working. All right, people are showing up. Hey, everybody. I'm going to start drawing here in a few minutes. All right. I've let everyone know that I'm doing this, and I'm on the YouTube chat or the comments or whatever the crap that's called, and I will people want to chat with me. That's awesome. I'm gonna be just drawing blueprints like this. You got questions, you got comments, you got encouragement. You can do it, Bill. Please share that with me. Also enjoy the smooth jazz, the video game smooth jazz from Andrew Allen. Oh yeah. So today I am drawing the M98 Widow from Mass Effect. And if my music is too loud, you guys let me know. But I am digging it. Yes. Starting out here by I'm using Inkscape, by the way. Everyone wants to know what I draw my blueprints in. I do have Adobe Illustrator, and I will start using that eventually, but I'm so used to using Inkscape at this point that I I haven't made the switch yet. But I did just recently get my hands on the Adobe Creative Cloud. And I will be using more and more of that as it goes on. So I start off usually by doing the main outline. You can see I've just started. I've got the background image is the the background image I have. It's 50% transparency. It is locked in place, so I can't click on it, and I'm just drawing over it, tracing it. And I'm doing stuff like adding these dotted lines here. These are the center, because you can see I've got the top of the gun up here, so these line up nicely. There'll be a nice circle up there. And when I build that later on, it'll be a piece that I lathe or something. But to get a good measure on it, I got the center line all mapped out there. Let's go back over here. So I know that this is going to be one piece right here. So I want these edges, even though I drew them individually, I want them to line up. And that's where these align and distribute tools come in super, super handy. They are, you just grab the verts that you want and hit this, boop, and they all line up perfectly. Just like that. And I know that there's an overlap on this piece here, so I'm going to draw this edge like so. Let's start up here. I'm going to edit those later. It's not quite right, but something like that. And let's see here. I think this needs to be a little lower, like that. Like that. And then it looks like there's this edge here, from here down to here. And a lot of times I'll draw, most of the time actually, I draw something and then just go back and tweak its position like that. Like so. And then this line here, I'll connect it to the vert on the end of that one, and I'll start there and click like that, and just trace this guy right here, just like that. And then this line stops right there where it overlaps, and then this will go over there. I'll continue on that, but this piece here, I think I'm going to trim it. I love how fast I can work in Inkscape now that I've gotten really good at it. I push S on the keyboard to use the selection tool here, and then you can click and drag something, or I can go double click it, and I can grab the verts, and then if I double click again, I can add one. I want to add one over here too, and then want to remove everything in between. This is everything that's hiding beneath it there. I'll hit this button up here, and it looks like nothing changed, but you can see this piece has been truncated, just like that. Nice and clean. And good. Looks like this piece is tapered. I have the reference. This, by the way, if you go to DeviantArt and look up Troodon 80, Troodon 80, you will see the dude's got like every single freaking Mass Effect gun and costume and stuff there. This bipod piece is not tapered, so I'm just gonna modify this so that it's parallel to reflect the thickness of that right there. Let's see. So I'm taking a look at the YouTube thing, and I don't see any comments. I don't know if you guys are trying to post there or not. And then, honestly, the chat comment options for YouTube are kind of not the best. But I'll keep soldering on. Let's see. This guy's pretty easy. Drag this out. A lot of times I will not draw stuff. I will just move verts that I've already drawn. And this is going to close almost all the way down there. But this edge right here is going to be pretty straight. Let's do this. Yeah. And I want these to be parallel, so I'll duplicate this with Control D. So I got 2 of them, and I can just drag it over, and there's a parallel right there. And then I'll just add onto this right here. Just like that. And that'll end up getting connected later. Let's see here. I'll add a line there. I'm just gonna... Nah, I don't want to do that. I'll do it the right way. Boop, trim that, like that, and then I'm gonna again duplicate this guy here, but I'm gonna leave it on top of it itself, and I'll delete one of them, and then I'll delete the other one over here. And what that leaves me with is this piece and that piece, and then these 2 will get joined like that. And then this will go, we'll keep drawing. Connect it there, connect that there, and then these will get connected there. Just like that. Beep, 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 beep. Checking the comment section here. There we go. So this is the thing I don't like about this. There are you guys are leaving comments. Awesome. They just showed up for me. So I kind of wish it would work out a little bit better. All right. Yeah, people in the chat are agreeing that the chat for YouTube is kind of dumb. Let's see if I can trim this. And when you see me adding a little dot there, it's just me double clicking on the line. Let's change the next thing. Someone got a little rambunctious on the drums there. All right. Oh yeah, Nick's pointing out that one of my props was on TV today, or not today, but this week. Yes, more than one, Nick. Nick was wearing his Citizen V mask on Heroes of Cosplay at Kamikaze, which was wicked cool. And I made that Citizen V mask. But also, Nick, there was one of my, what do you call it? One of my Mass Effect guns, the M5 Phalanx. Someone had a Kasumi costume with one of my pistols, which is really cool. Which I actually signed a thing because I was in the background of one of the Heroes of Cosplay shots in my Draugr costume, but they didn't use that footage, alas. Chance on the big screen. Foiled. When I'm drawing these curves and stuff, I try and use as few points as possible. So you'll see, like, sometimes I put a lot of points in here. I'll delete most of these. Probably delete all 3 of those, because you can describe these kind of curves with not very many points, and I like to do that. There we go. And I'll also make some modifications. See how this is very heavily faceted here for the model. This is ripped from the game model, so it's really, they had to cut down to the faces. So when I do mine, I'll curve it out a little bit, make it look more like it would look realistically. There's the main outline for the big gun. I got a couple of cutouts to do, the trigger and up here, so I'll do those. I do these first, and I make them a slightly thicker outline. It looks nicer that way. Newest first, let me see. Oh, here we go. We got some more comments coming in. Cool. Right. Okay, so yeah, someone says, cheers from Japan. Hey, this is called Inkscape. I'll Inkscape.org, I think. Yeah, Inkscape. Draw freely. Here we go. There you go, Inkscape. It's a really, really good vector drawing application, and it's totally free. So go check it out. In my opinion, it's almost just as good as Illustrator. It's pretty close. Not perfect, but worth the price of admission for sure. So I drew this four-sided object. These two top ones I drew first and last, so they're not necessarily lined up. So I select both of them, and then I hit this align nodes thing to make sure that they're nice and lined up. And then also because I just drew these, the thickness was a little bit different. So I go to change the width to 1 millimeter, which is what the rest of the outlines are. And I may go back in and alter those later. I just want to keep them consistent. I also want to make sure that these right here line up with these up here. So they're two different lines. So I'll select both of them with Shift, select them all, and then hit the Align button, and then that's nice and lined up, just like that. Let's see, the trigger. This is another one where, like in the game, you don't see the trigger area very much. So they got pretty liberal with their use of polygons. So I'm gonna smooth this out a whole bunch. And at first it's like, oh my god, look at that, it's so janky. But I'll select these three, like I said. I don't want to use a lot, and I'll hit the I'll make the selected node smooth up here, dink, and then I'll just go in and grab the Bezier curves, is what they're called, and pull these guys out, and just start tweaking it until I'm happy with the shape. And again, I'm being there's room for interpretation here. That's really trying to say. There's not very many polygons describing this trigger area, so pretty good. And also, I kind of have an idea what triggers look like, so I'll just say that's my trigger, and I'm pretty happy with that. A little bit. A lot of times, drawing the blueprint drawing process is kind of like the first time you're building it. You're going through the whole build process in your head, like a really cool brain exercise, and it's super helpful to do that because you get a pretty good idea of what it's going to take to put this thing together. Let's do some interior things. So I can add to this guy. And if I hit Control, it'll snap, so I can do a nice line like that. And then for this, I want to make sure it lines up with this guy here, so I draw it long, and then add a node right there and delete it, so that it looks nice and lined up. And I'll use the term node. They call them nodes. I call them vertices or vertexes or verts, because my training is as a 3D modeler, and we call them verts. Let's see. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be attached to that. Let's get those connected. And then this part right here, at first I thought it was like a knob on top of the barrel, or the scope, but then I looked at the reference, and you can see that it is like this upside down U-shaped band thing. So I'm going to just draw some lines in there, just like this. Dink. And that needs to be 0.5 millimeter, like that. So this line, it looks like I need to alter that a little bit. I will make these two line up like this. And then if I select all of those and hit this delete segment, it'll do that, and then add a segment between them like that, and do that like that right there. Oh, that's much nicer. A lot of times instead of drawing something too, I'll duplicate one and just go like this. double click it, and then hold Control, and there we go. Turn off the sound on my phone. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna keep just keeping an eye on the chat over there, and whenever it does show up, then I'll respond to you guys. Let's see. There we go. Rob wants to say if I could do this on like Justin TV. I can't. I have a contract with Machinima, so I have to do all my live streaming on YouTube. So that's just the way it's gonna be for a while. So these lines here, most of these vertical lines here, I'm just gonna duplicate one of these and move it over. I'll modify it so that it fits in there like this. And you'll see me swapping over between tools using keyboard shortcuts. That is the only way to be. Oh, let's see. Does this? These gotta line up. Yep, they line up. So Control D to move that, or to duplicate that, and then move this up. Move that down, and I hit S to go back to the move tool, just like that. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think these could move over a little bit. There we go. And there's some detail stuff on here. I'm not really. This is why I love having this sort of 3D render of it. I can bounce back and forth. And some of this detail too, like underneath here, there's some sort of overlapping thing, and I'm not gonna. That won't come through in the blueprint, but keeping an eye on that helps. Helps me later on. Also, the detail in this scope, in my highly pixelated view here, I'm not going to really get. And then the other thing too is that what I'm trying to get right now is the shape. So I'll do another layer later on that's got these paint details on them, and I'll export that later to make some stencils on my vinyl cutter. But so right now I'm really just trying to get the shape. Yeah, so like this, some kind of text. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that. Not right now. Got that. Got this. This is I think the most basic thing you can do with for the shape of the scope. You can move, if you have the move tool selected, you can use the arrows to move it, and if you hold down Alt, it'll move it just a teeny bit. I only recently learned that, and it's very, very helpful. I'm willing to bet that the end of this barrel is kind of beveled a little bit. So let's see, can I do that? Yeah, let's do this. What I'll do to make that super simple is I'll double click right there, and I'll double click right there, and then I'll select these two and just move them back a teeny bit. And I got a little bit of a bevel right there. And again, a lot of this stuff is a brain exercise for me to help me figure it out later on. Looks pretty good so far. I have the reference image on a different layer, so I can hide it and see how it looks. And I'm pretty confident that that describes that piece pretty well. Let's see. Right now I'm trying to decide these horizontal lines on that. I'm trying to figure out, is that something that is going to be stenciled on, or is that something that is going to be part of the sculpt, like actual relief? And I'm feeling like that should be stenciled and painted on. I think that's going to be the best way to handle that. So I will draw that later. I'll add another layer of like decals. Here's a couple of easy things to crank out. Let's see, this scope part right here. Something else I'll probably do on the lathe. Let's just do a couple of vertical lines there. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Let's go there. I've got that image layer locked down, so if I try and draw on it, nothing happens. Got a pretty pronounced bevel on this. I'll add a line to describe that. There we go. There's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of edge on the top of this here. Along the whole top of it, actually. I could just draw a line to describe all of that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Looks like it comes all the way up to here. I will start here and... no, not there. Over here. You should all line up. What I'm going to do then is grab all of these here and make sure that they all line up. And they didn't, so that works nicely. Now we'll do this. And you can use the middle mouse to drag around, which I think is brilliant. I wish Photoshop did that. There we go. That, I'm going to move it down just a touch. So now I know there's like a shelf there. Let's see, this guy here, let's take a look at, where's the top view? Looks like there's grooves on the side of this. So I will draw, I'll probably draw some grooves. I'm not going to get too crazy detailed with that, I don't think. Let's go here. I could do, where is it? I've got this star thing. I can do a star with, let's say, 30 corners. And then I can change the ratio on the spoke. Oops. I can round it. Oop, up, a little bit much. Let's say 1. Yeah. So I can, to make like those groove-looking things, I can do something just like that. Which is kind of neat. That's the Create Stars and Polygons tool. Kind of neat. All right. More lines. These two knobs are probably at different heights, so I'll just draw them each separately. And like I said, there's these vertical lines on here, and I'm debating whether or not I want to draw them. Yeah, I probably should. What I'll do is they should get closer as you go along. I'm probably going to draw them and then move them. And this is a lot less about a schematic that I'll follow perfectly and more about sort of just describing the shape. So I select all these guys. I should have just duplicated them, but I can align the top, align the bottom, and then I'll duplicate this guy over like that. So that's the widest one, and then they get less wide as it goes. So I'm just gonna eyeball these really. Close enough. And then what you can do is copy all those. So Control D, and then hit H to flip them horizontally, and then choo-choo train them over here. Delete. I copied. Oops. Copied an extra one. Delete that. And choo-choo, just like that. And I am pleased with that. That should be fine. Checking the comments. It hasn't refreshed in 5 minutes, so awesome. Way to go, YouTube. Loving that. All comments. Do I have to click on that? Oh, what? Yes, I would like to see the newest first. Thank you very much. Nick wants to know if this is a project for myself or a commission. This is a commission. In fact, I have a list of them here. I have, like, leading up to DragonCon, I've got some. You probably can't read it. A handful of things I have to draw, so I'm probably going to bang them all out this week. I've got a bow, another gun, I've got a shield. Pretty fun stuff. Alright. So what is this? This thing right here, it looks like some sort of indent. And it's this thing here. Now, sometimes the 3D model can be deceiving. I know for a fact that this is one solid polygon, but then this inner dent was done with with normals mapping, because you can see at the top that it doesn't actually indent, but it should indent. So I'm going to draw it like it's at some kind of indent. Yes. Goes all the way down to this thing here. Let's see. The lighting on this is a little janky too. This is where having a view that looks at it kind of from the front helps a bunch too. So these leg things look like they're what's supporting the scope. That's what this is here and this is here. But they don't. There's a hard edge on the bottom of the top of them. So I think I will start by drawing a hard edge right here. This is kind of like the bottom of the scope. Looks like. And when I notice that, I imagine that this guy here and the top of here should all be lined up. So I'm just going to make sure that they are right now. And when I saw them move a little bit, that confirmed my suspicion that they were not all lined up. So there we go. That's sort of the bottom edge of the scope there. Yes, choo-choo train. You can call it. That's got a whole bunch of stuff. You can use the arrow keys to move them, and when you're doing that, you have to go choo-choo. That's how us pros do it. These circles on here, I'm gonna guess are like screws, but they are literally described by 2 or 3 pixels. So I don't really know what they're supposed to look like, but everything in the future uses hexagon hex nuts, or hex bolts. So I'm gonna say they're hexagons or hex nuts. So what I'll do is draw a circle like this, and you can draw any shape, but if you hold down Control, it'll be a nice regular circle. And then I'll take that hexagon and star or polygon star thing. We'll make it 6 sides, and then we'll draw. Oh, turn off the rounded bit there. We'll draw this. I should measure. I have some. I'll probably go measure these later, but I have the hex bolts or nuts that I want to use. I've got some lying around, so I'll probably measure them and redraw this later. But I'm going to group these together so it's one thing, and duplicate. And there's a couple over there, so I'll duplicate 2 of them, like so. Mostly, I want to measure them because I need to drill holes for them, and I'll want to make sure that the holes are the correct size. Something else I'm noticing here is it looks like there's a pretty pronounced bevel on the leading edge of this scope. Let's confirm my suspicions. Yeah, it doesn't. This looks like it is. It's hard to tell. Again, the lighting on this isn't supremely great, but there's a bit. Yeah, see the you can't really see the edge, but you can see that there is some weathering on the front of this. So I'm going to go in and draw a bevel all the way around that. So I'm going to freehand this and get it close, and then go back in and fix it later, or fix it after it's drawn. So again, I know this and this guy over here aren't parallel, so I'll line them up there. And then I'll look at that. This edge right here is going to be a little bit rounded, so I'll add a vert there and move this back a little bit. Click and drag in the middle. You can round lines real easy like that. And then if you hold down Control and click on these, it'll square them off nicely. And that looks real pretty. Looks pretty. I like it. I'll do the same thing down here, where I'll do that, drag this down, move that out, and then Control-click both of those, and pretty pleased with myself right there. Yeah. All right. So this part here, this is the bottom, and when I'm like explaining through what these pieces are, It's mostly for my own benefit, so I can be like, so that's what that is. This is the bottom of the scope piece right here. So I'm gonna just draw. Whoops. Draw again. This line here. Down to that. Duplicate it and drag it over here. So that's like this indent in the side of the scope. Now this bevel that I drew here doesn't go across that, so I'm going to add a couple of verts there and then use this to remove that and move these a little bit like that. There you go. But the bevel does continue along the outside of it, and then this indent part here. Oh, I guess it's the same thing for the top. There's probably not a bevel across here. Like so. And then I will do that. There we go. Now these vents or something, I don't know what they are. These guys right here, I'm willing to bet that they're just sort of rounded on either side. They doesn't look like they go all the way to the edge. So what I'll draw those with is the rectangle tool, like this. And you can see I've already got it set to have rounded rounded corners like that. Another tip for Inkscape is you can go and rescale something just by using the Move tool. That will alter the stroke width, though, and I don't like that. I would rather go back in with the tool, so with the rectangle tool, and I can go back in and resize it using that. And I can also grab these little corner jobbies to affect how it gets rounded, which is super handy. So, yeah. Make one until I like how it looks, duplicate it, and move it directly below. And that's enough of a description right there for me to know later on what I meant to by that. There we go. Let's see. Is there anything else in there that I need to describe? Not really. That's pretty straightforward. Looks like these, I don't know, bumpity bits on the top are thinner than this part right here, so that line makes sense. Bumpity bits. The ultimate irony is that I make toy space guns for a living, and I know very little about actual firearms whatsoever. Alright, let's see. The last part on this scope looks like just this rectangular piece right here. Just a raised bit. I'm thinking, is that paint? It looks like it's got a shadow. It looks like that's supposed to be raised. Maybe it is paint. I don't know. Hard to tell. I think I'm going to paint that. I think that's going to be stenciled and painted. It's weird that it's got a shadow, though. Yeah. Oh, see, another really fantastic thing about having this reference from the 3D model is being able to see this piece from the top here, so I can see how like there's a strip on the top of it here. There's this strip right here. So that's this piece right here and this piece right here. I would guess it's probably about, I don't know, an 1/8 of an inch. Probably cut that all out of 1/8 inch styrene or PVC or something. And this is super helpful right here. You can see that this goes over this corner, and I've got it wrong here. So what I'll do is I'll draw this line as like a guide, so I know what angle it should be. And that looks wrong. Let's do that again. One of these angles is wrong. Yeah, so this needs to come in a little bit until those angles match. And I'm actually going to move all of... Oh, can I move all that out? Not really. Yeah, this thickness should be similar to that thickness, but it's not. I'm just going to roll with it. And then move this over so I know where that's going to be. This guideline I can delete. And then this line will go up there, and I'll combine those, just like that. So now I know, looking at my reference here, this sort of thing folds over the end, just like that. Ding. I'm always going back and forth with all my reference images. A lot of times, again, it's not necessarily that the image, the blueprint needs to be perfect. It's that the process of drawing it helps me like a lot way down the road, like lots and lots. So these, let's see. It looks like there is a pretty solid edge all the way across the top of the gun, all the way from stem to stern back to here. So I think I'm just going to draw that. Starting, let's see, I can zoom, I can do that. That looks about right, and then I'll just go all the way, zip, 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 over here. Hold on Control, so it's a nice parallel line, just like that. And I'll draw the next part. And I think what I'm going to do is draw one of these curves here, and then just duplicate it a couple times, like that. So draw it. Double click, no, double click, there we go. Hold this in, and then I'll click on it again, and you can see these Bezier handles. And oops, and sort of move them until you're happy, until they look roughly parallel. There we go, I like that. Grab that, duplicate it, and then hit H to do a horizontal mirror and get that in place. Hold down Shift, duplicate all of that, and move that over here. So we've got both of those done, and they are the same size. When I'm cutting these pieces out later on, there'll be 4 of them, 2 on this side, 2 on the other, and I will probably just cut them all out at the same time, and that'll save me a whole lot of time. Yeah. Geo says, that's a lot of oops going on. It's all part of it. Yes. Lots of oops. That's, I mean... The undo button is so helpful, so super helpful. Let's see what's going on in this front piece right here. I'm trying to figure that out next. It looks fairly simple. I'm wondering if there's if this line is continued up through there. So I'm gonna check some different references. Hard to tell. Kind of hard. Looks like there's a mess of pixels there. I don't really know. I think that line is continued all the way up through, so I'm actually gonna just draw the whole thing right now, like that, and then all the way down like that. And I don't know what just happened. Oh, if you use the line tool, the draw freehand lines, you draw a single line segment. If you use the draw Bezier curves, it'll draw more. So, but I can just add onto it like this. Dink. The draw freehand tool, you can actually draw like trace lines and crap if you really want to. Most of the stuff I'm drawing are very geometric, so I will just use the straight lines. Does that line up? This is the sort of thing where I'm like, let's just guess. I'm gonna delete that line and just go like this. Boom, looks good to me. All right, next thing. There's that circle on the front. I'm going to guess is one of these hex bolts. I'm going to copy and paste. And when you paste, again, I like this a lot in Inkscape. When you hit Control-V, the thing shows up wherever your mouse pointer is, which is pretty nice. This looks a little small, but I'm probably just going to roll with it because I'll buy a bunch of the same size hex bolts. Let's see here. Let's do this like that. Does that go? See, this is another thing I gotta check out here. What's going on with this thing? There's very clearly an edge there where this. I don't know why there's a sight. I mean, there's a scope. We don't really need this sight there, but that edge is right there. So I'll start from here. And this clearly needs to be higher. This right here. Like that. And does that curve? No, it doesn't. I think maybe just all of this comes in a little bit. And that comes in a little bit. And there we go. I can live with that. Cool. Now these vents, I want to say they're vents. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to cut these. This is one of those cases where it'd be really sweet if I had a table saw. I don't. Someday I will. And that day will be a good day. But until then, I'm going to have to figure out another way to cut those. I do have a bandsaw, which is a pretty sweet thing to have around, but not quite the same functionality as a table saw. The great thing about using a table saw to do those is if I had like a miter sled or something for that, I could remove material. You could do like a couple cuts really close and it just cuts a groove out of it. I can't do that on the bandsaw. Much thinner blade. Alright. So what I'm going to do with these then is draw one of them. And so here's a really fantastic example of how video game companies or video game designers will use normals maps. These indents for these vents aren't actually indented. Otherwise you would see right through there. But from the top and the side and everything, when you sort of rotate around it, it sure looks like those are cut all the way out, but they aren't at all. It's probably a perfectly flat polygon face. So anyway, I will draw one of them, and then I will copy it a whole bunch of times. I'll even draw 1/4 of this, and then I'll hit duplicate that, and then do a vertical mirror. So you hit V, line this up. Actually, one thing I'm going to do first, there's a couple more lines that on this really big bevel on the side of it. I'm going to draw those first, so that I have sort of an anchor point to measure, to line everything up with. So this goes, now I'll cut this later on, but it goes again all the way to the ass end of the gun here. And then I'll take that guy and duplicate it and move that down to this bevel here. I'm going to say right around there. So now I know, let's delete this one and do it again. Now I know that this needs to, I'll probably redraw that whole thing. It needs to line up right on that line. And then I'll draw, or duplicate this, do a vertical mirror again, and then line up this corner right here with this line right there. And then with both of these selected, I can double click, and the middle pieces there, I can hit this button here, join selected nodes, and this becomes one piece, with this being right in the middle of them. So I can duplicate that, copy it over there, and there's that. And then I will, again, select the nodes for those, fill that in, fill that in, and I've got perfectly mirrored shape right there. And now what I'll actually do, these look like they're not quite evenly spaced out, but I'm probably going to evenly space them out. So I'll duplicate them kind of close, like this, like that. And in fact, it doesn't even really matter so long as the first one and the last one are lined up where you want them to be. And I'll select all of them, and this is where the distribute options come in handy. This distribute centers equidistantly horizontally. I'll hit that, and they don't line up perfectly with the reference, but they are all equidistant. And I think in the final piece that it would look wrong if they weren't all equidistant. And then I'm going to copy 3 of these, duplicate those, and put them in the back there, and move them a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with that. So check that out. I mean, doing that kind of detail is really a pretty cool way to do that sort of stuff quickly. If you use things, you could even do when you duplicate stuff. Let me select something. Edit, duplicate, clone. The clone tool is there? Let me check. Tiled clone. So they call it tiled clones, but it's really doing an array. If you're used to things like AutoCAD and stuff, because you can do columns and rows. You can change the width and height while you do it. You can shift them, rotate them, with rotation, scale, all this crap. It's really, really powerful. You do like a polar array. Yeah. You could do all that. Let's see, what's this? Oh, I duplicated this line down, and I just gotta truncate it, just like that. Before I continue, I'm gonna add the bottom edge of this. So I've got the top edge of this main the main sort of receiver piece. I'm just going to duplicate that and copy it down to the bottom here. Now this is, I guess, going to be this edge right here. This whole area down here is pretty muddy in the image, so I'm just going to line it up with this here and call it good. A little bit lower. There we go. And then, realistically, these should be the same distance from each other. So let's do a really quick non-scientific test. Drawing a line, moving it down here. That's pretty close. I'm happy enough with that. Oh, this is weird. All right. These bumpity bits, and these bumpity bits. Oops. These ones don't go all the way down to the main body piece. These ones do. So I'm just gonna double check the reference on that. It looks like that's the case. There's got to be a bottom. Let's see. This one right here. Yeah, these go all the way up to this piece here. So cool. Clicking on the comments thing. I have to keep reloading the comments thing to get them to show up. Again, if you guys have questions or comments, feel free to post them on the YouTube comment thing. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me this fine afternoon here. Let's see, what do I want to do next? So this piece here, this gray piece, I'm gonna section that off, and if my checking the references is correct, yeah, see, those go all the way down to the handle. Again, even though the this side view is a little muddy in that area, I can go check the other reference angles I've got. I don't know what just happened. What's that? That I've got in the image. I can go check those images and see what's going on there. This is super helpful. All right. Let's clean up this end piece here. I'm gonna just do that and that. I'll add a segment between them, connecting them, and I'll do the same thing down here. That's not at all what I meant to do. All right. There we go, and then like I said, I hit Control, click that, I am pretty happy with that. These guys, make sure they're nice and lined up, and move it over. There we go, nice and tidy. That's a pretty simple, this back piece here, I got that figured out. It does look like, however, this buttstock piece has the top part, you can see, is a little bit thinner. So there is, you cannot see it in this freaking image, but there is a difference in the depth there. So I add a line there. And there's some really faint circles on there. How is Alt-Tab not? Why is it bringing me back to this line? All right. So there's some circles on that. Yeah, that's Alt-Tab is broken. I don't know what's going on. Alt-Tab. Thank you. Let's see here. Get. Oh, this is interesting too. These bumpity bits, as I like to call them, are not as wide as the rest of it. And this thinner one here, what's going on? This thinner one here appears to be this. Is it behind that? No. It looks like there's a groove there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like there's supposed to be a groove or something there, but I can't see it on this side at all. Gonna disregard that for now. All right, these circles again, more hex bolts. I'll copy that, paste it there, duplicate that over just like that. There we go. All right. How am I feeling about that? I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling like taking a sip of delicious Diet Dr. Pepper. During this drum solo. Yeah. All right. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's move along to this guy right here. Now I think... What have I clicked on? Undo. I think that this white line is going to be a decal. Let's see here. But the inner part, I think, is going to be it's going to be an indent there. Yeah. All right. Let's. So this is what I'll do. I'm going to skip the white line for now because I'll do that. Like I said, later I'll do that. I'll do those as a decal layer, and then I'll have those that I can export for vinyl cutting, and I'll use those to cut up some sweet vinyl. But this one on the inside, though, I'm going to make a rectangle, and it looks like it's got a very slight round on the edge of it, so I'll tighten this up a little bit, and then I'm going to duplicate this, just sort of. Just be like, hey, there's a thing on the inside of this. And I'll even, sometimes I'll be like, make it a little thinner so it stands out as like an indent. A lot of this stuff, it really is just explaining to future Bill what I was thinking when I drew this. Yep, that's good. Then there are these two, so it's obvious up here, but the bottom one is less obvious. I think they're the same, these cutouts here, except this bottom one doesn't have a slot cut into it. So I'll draw the first one, and then I'll duplicate it, flip it over, like this. Let's see here. Oops. If you click and drag with the zoom tool, sometimes it zooms in on like 4 pixels. Let's give a very... I don't have to bubble that. That'll be fine. And then, again, you know what I'm going to do too for this slot is to duplicate this, and I'll put it up. I'll get one corner to match, and then I'll grab my square tool, and I'll just again, I'm not rescaling this because that scaling tool will go bonkers with the line width, but I'll definitely use the square rectangle tool to resize that, and I think that's good. What's going on, buddy? I have a shop homunculus has joined me. So this piece here, I'll duplicate, and I hit V to do a vertical mirror, and then I'll just choo-choo train that down here, so it lines up, just like that. Now this side. I mean, it's a cut into the side of that big bevel on the side of the gun, so I don't need to think too much about it, but just it's in at an angle like that, and then the back of it's flat, parallel with one of the axes. Like that. Move on to the next piece. Got some more circular things here. Now these are on the side of that bevel. So all I'll usually do is take something like this, and then I'll just, like I said, I don't like using the scaling tool very often, but there's not a lot of options. Let's see, let's grab those guys and make sure that they are, like I said, this should be 0.5 millimeter and it's like 0.4. So I'll go in and fix that. There we go. When you have a group, if you double click on it, you can go inside the group and make changes to the individual elements. I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm also going to look and see if that exists anywhere else on the gun, because I can copy that over. But it looks like that's the only place for it. I'll check this reference too. Yeah, it looks like, oh, there's one. All right, so there's one on the up here on the bipod. So I'm going to check the reference, see if those are the, whoops, see if those are the same angle. They're a very similar angle to this bevel here, so I'm going to use the same one there. So I'll copy and paste that right there, just like that. That looks a little small. Again, like I said, I'm going to go in and measure these later, so I'll leave that there as like a placeholder. All right, let's do this thing. This looks, if I was a guessing man, and if I knew anything about guns, I would say this is the bolt part of the gun. Oh, VFX guy wants to know what I'm making. This is a blueprint for the M98 Widow from Mass Effect. That's what I've got so far. I can hide the reference image there. I'm just doing the side view now, but I have a bunch of other views I'll do. If you look at the reference image, I've got the top, bottom, front, back pieces there. And yeah, almost done with the side view. Pretty happy with it so far. Here we go. Alright, so this bolt thing, gonna have to do some guessing on that. It's the sort of thing where I would assume, well, yeah, I would assume it's on just one side. Let's see. The reference doesn't have both sides of the gun. So I'm going to say it's probably just on one side. I don't know. But I'm only drawing one side of the gun, and I'll have to just make that decision later. Alright, let's go with... And by the way, I am saving constantly because I don't trust my old computer. Go with this guy here. And then this bevel that I put on there, this line for the bevel, I can go in, double click, and select those and empty it there. Ta-da! These look like they are slightly not the same size, so I'm just going to draw. I'm going to say this one is probably a little smaller than the middle one, so I'm going to draw this one first. Let's see how it looks over here. Oh, it's actually, the front one's smaller than the rest of them. So what I'll do is, I'm going to zoom in. I want to line these guys up like this. And like that. Go in, clean up these bevels a little bit. These make them round. These chamfers, whatever you want to call them. That's pretty good. And then I can just copy this over right there, and then copy it over right there. Grab these guys and just drag them over. Get them the right size, just like that. Boom, done. Pretty happy with that. I think that this inner piece is meant to be like round, like it's going down the barrel or something. I think, let's see. Yeah, it's a little Like if the barrel, actually I should have a midline for the barrel. It's just going to be like a PVC pipe. But let's get this there. How do I find the center of that? I'll tell you how. I'm going to draw a line here, and then I'm going to copy or select them all and distribute them vertically in the middle. And it moves that one down the middle. Science. Oh, actually, I'll do the same thing down here. Draw a line here, draw a line there, select all of them, and distribute them, bink, just like that. Later on, when I'm working on stuff, it's going to be super handy to have these midlines for anything like spheres, or not spheres, but circles, tubes, cylinders. There's the word, cylinders. Yeah. So yeah, if I were to drag this all the way back, you could see, theoretically, if this was a real functioning gun and this was the bolt on it, that it would be pretty big. So what I'll probably do is whatever I use for this big PVC pipe, which would be, I can check how thick that should be, which would be roughly, let's see here, my super high-tech method for measuring stuff, height, about 1.5 inches, which for a barrel is freaking massive. So I'd use that same PVC pipe for this piece in here. I'd probably cut a chunk of it out, cut out these notches, and then embed it in this piece of wood. We have 21 people in here, Will. Oh yeah. Hopefully they're learning stuff. And I want you guys to know I keep looking at the comments and it just isn't. It hates to update. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna refresh it, see if that works. Oh, so it thinks one of you is spam. There we go. All right. Let's see. What do we have next? There's this line here. Seems pretty straightforward. Just a groove. Looks like it mirrors this guy right here. I'll duplicate that, drag it over. There's like a highlight on one side. I'm going to say it's probably weathering to keep it, to make it look more pronounced. But that's enough of a description for me. That looks pretty good. Guess the handle needs a little love. Mostly what I'm worried about with the handle is describing where where I'm going to cut it, because I'm going to cut this in with like a rasp, like just chew a lot of material out. So I just want to describe where that bevel starts, mostly. Look at that, 3 dots, that's all it takes. There's this, that goes like that. That goes like that. That goes like that. I get these close and hold on Control and click on them and it straightens them out like that. Yeah. And then this is just a matter of tweaking and pulling and pushing and getting everything to a point that I'm happy with. Looks like they connect right here. Now you can't have one of these curves like tree root out. I guess if that's a term, tree root. But I can just start another one right here. There isn't a lot of information for me to work with though, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, and I'm gonna guess that it's got this sort of thing going on like this, just because I've made a lot of gun handles and this is probably kind of what it looks like. Alright, right. So what I'll do first is I'll round. In fact, you can even select all of them and hit this make them round button. And then I'll go in and make this part look good. Like that. What I'll end up doing is like tracing this out on the piece, this line right here, and then going back and hitting it with that rasp on my air-powered rotary tool, and just I'll know that's this part right here is supposed to remain flat, so the rest of it will get beveled down to the whatever the thickness of the handle I want it to be, but that area will remain flat. Let's see here. I'm trying to get this contour. I want it to be rounded a bit still, but get it to kind of match this back part here. And then I only need one to describe that. So I delete the rest. And it's pretty good. Pretty good. I'm happy with it. So this is something I'm interested in. I'm wondering if this bottom part here, I imagine that's where you would hold it if you're like, oh, hey, so Emily wants to know about this music. This is Keys with Soul. Music is from Andrew Allen, buddy of mine. Go to keyswithsoul.com to go see everything he's got going on. This album in particular is called Free Play. It's available on Amazon. You can just get the downloads right there. I want to say it's like $8, and it's totally freaking worth it. So go support Andrew. Check out everything else he's got going on. He has a Patreon. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a bunch of really cool jazz covers of just about everything. Yeah. So there you go. Andrew Allen, Keys with Soul, Free Play, Amazon. There you go. All right. More space guns. So this bottom part here, I'm really interested in knowing more about that. I'm wondering what the thickness of that would be. Look at the. So there's some circles on there. 1, 2, 3. There's some of these hex nuts bolts. It's kind of hard to tell from this view where those live. All right. I'm going to say right in front of this part here. And then there's 2 more at the front. Kind of like that. I'm going to say that's probably right. So it looks like these are going to be this under handle part is going to be roughly the same thickness as the front of the handle here, the trigger guard. And then the rest of the handle will be the full thickness, whatever that is. Usually it's something like 1.25 1.5 inches-ish for the thickness of a handle. I've done lots of them before, and I've done some that I know were too thin. Yeah, 1.5 inches would be pretty good. Always have your ruler on hand so you can check that stuff out. All right. Yeah, let's see. Am I done with the side view? No, I got this front thing here. Let's go take care of that. Let's see here. Let's do this line here. Aha! I've got a problem. These don't line up. So I'm going to go in and line them up. Boop. That could have been embarrassing. The barrel should be the same thickness all the way throughout. And there we go. Let's see. Oh, there's a bevel on the. Oh, it's hideous. These 2 bevels aren't even close. These should be lined up. They weren't. This should be a little bit more like. Yeah, it's pretty close. Then, because it's such a heavy bevel, there should be a line there. Let's make sure that these are lined up too. Oh god, they weren't. Not even close. There we go. All right, and then the rest of this on here is text. Let's take a look at that. All right, so this is really useful information. This piece right here is like two tubes that have been joined in the middle. So there needs to be a little bit more information here. Probably just a couple lines. When I'm cutting out pieces for this and actually figuring it out, I will be keeping an eye on these. God. Why does it keep doing that? Thank you. I will be keeping an eye on all these different views. I may not draw all of these, but I'll have them up so that I know. Because from the side, you're like, oh, it's like a rectangular piece. And you look at it from the front, and you're like, oh, it's not even close. See, this I don't understand. Look at this. Look at this. This weird, goofy thing right here obscures part of the scope. Come on, what are we thinking? Again, these sort of decal pieces will be done in a layer later on. But there you go. Let's take a look at what we've accomplished today. Is there a line here? I think I'm gonna add a seam in there. I'm thinking like when I lathe this, probably like when it's at that point, it would be super easy to just put lathe this chunk in. So I'll just do that right there. Say pretty good. Yep. My computer is it's having a hard time with this. There we go. All right, I'm happy with that. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got. Let's hide that. And there we go. And when I'm doing this, I'm looking to see if I miss anything. Here we go. So, not that I wouldn't. Wow, zoomed way in. Not that I wouldn't have figured this out later on, but I need to describe where the edge of the trigger is. Mostly because this. Actually, I want these two to sort of meet up or line up, because I'm going to cut that all out at the same time. There we go. That's a little better. And then the trigger will get cut out separately and added, probably. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Here, look here. That's better. Yeah, that's pretty good. What I'll probably do now, I'm gonna end the stream here, but what I'll do now is I'll go and draw in the other sides, the other views, and then I'll go back and revisit the views I've already drawn. Because when I'm drawing the other views, I'll learn more about this thing, and I'll be like, oh, that's what that piece is supposed to look like, and I'll use that new information. But other than that, I think I'm to end this. I've been doing this about an hour. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope that you learned a little bit of something. If you're going to draw your own stuff or trace things or make your own templates or blueprints, I recommend you go grab a free copy of Inkscape and play with it and learn it. And get really good at using the keyboard shortcuts, because that makes using it really, really fast. Yeah. And if you have any questions about that, let me know. Of course, I'm always available over on Twitter, twitter.com/chinbeard, and punishprops.com, and Twitter or facebook.com/punishprops. Also, while I got you guys here, hopefully you've all heard that I have a new ebook out, and you've gone and picked it up. I've got the helmet. This is the giveaway helmet that I'm gonna do, or that I'm gonna give away for anyone that's purchased the ebook until Saturday. Gets a chance to win this bad boy right here. So yeah, check that out. So there you go. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. And also, I will still be doing my live stream later today. I've got Holly Conrad on. That's going to be super awesome. And I'm really stoked to see some of you there. So, yeah. All right, guys. See you later.